All right, and we're live. It was not expected. I just kind of jumped on here, and we're going live with the laptop. It's been a minute since using the busted ass laptop. Let's see, close that. Man, that's how long it's been. Look, I like how we got this going right here. We kind of, man, the shit's inverted, but the nasty ass spare bed. Try to turn away from it here. We'll get a little better atmosphere and ambience like this. There we go. There was the rocking chair that we used to do lives in, but the cat has commandeered that, so we no longer have that. We got a cigar, but I promised somebody for his birthday, a regular viewer of the channel, if he's here, he knows who he is. Happy birthday to you, because I said I would get on and go live today. So, C Zach, what's up, brother? And I want to say, C Zach, were you the one that I promised that to? Because when I see people's regular names and their usernames, it throws me off sometimes. Because if some of the people follow me on Snapchat or Instagram and they got different names on there, I'm one of those people who uses different names and stuff. But I'm never that hard to find. So I figured, what would be a good topic for today? I like to lead stuff off, say, all right, let's have a good topic about something that's going on in my life um, that would help other people. I try to gauge all this and be relatable off experiences that I've had or am having. I think that's the best way to teach. And I think by being a teacher, you become a better student yourself too. You learn things while you're teaching other people. Um, and, something I think that I've not given myself enough credit for. And it was like that in the past when I was still learning all this. And I think it's like that for a lot of you guys, is to give yourself credit where credit's due in terms of manifestation, life, and anything in general. Every day we live, we're putting ourselves out there, and I got this little thing right here. Kind of reminds me of it, the man in the arena. It's a little thing for the desk, but I brought it out here. Just got that the other day. Um, what's it called? It's one of my favorite poems by Teddy Roosevelt. I learned about it from Greg Plitt, and he had it framed, so I had to put up his. I wanted to get something like that too to give a tribute to both of them. But the point of it is, every day we live, we put ourselves out there, and sometimes I think in the world of manifesting, people feel judged, especially with the specific person thing. It's like, if I go back with this person, is that bad? If I don't want to be with this person, is that bad? You're worried about being judged, but you're the one in the arena playing the game of life. And the only one who can judge you is yourself at the end of the day. You're the man in the arena or the woman in the arena going out there and valiantly striving. I'm going to read the poem to you guys later, but valiantly striving to accomplish what you want to accomplish in life and live it the way that you feel is the right way to live it. So like I always say, there's no right or wrong way, but sometimes along the way we start to beat ourselves up and feel like garbage and feel like we're not good enough and get in our own heads. So I think that today would be a really great day to go over some success stories, stuff from my personal experience, because I was reflecting on some things that I had manifested. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just go through it live. And then in the chat, you guys hit me with some stuff that you're thankful for, things that you've manifested. I know a lot of people are here because of a specific person or other things or like a certain amount of money. Like I said, the number one thing is to know exactly what you want. But let's sit down today and go over things that we have accomplished already and remind ourselves that this is possible, that this does happen, that manifestation is a real thing. And that's why I say do these mini manifestations. This is just a reminder that if you got your mini manifestation list, bust it out. Let's start crossing things off. If you don't have a mini manifestation list, think back on things that you said, wouldn't that be wonderful if? And oh man, cat's got boogers. Wouldn't it be wonderful if he would stop with that? That's actually a success story right there. That's the first booger thing I've seen him do in weeks. And that was something I'm like, he was always doing it. It was annoying me. It reminded me of that success story Neville had when those people they had an older cat too. And they were like, man, they were trying to manifest the cat to die. Neville goes, why don't you just manifest them to behave? And cat wound up behaving after that. So I've been doing that for, he's in the cut now. Look at him in the back, licking them boogers. All right, let me light this and read what we got here. No, it's not you, Czak. But you can promise on not messing with the middle. I was messing. Wait, it's not me, but you can promise on not messing with the middle. I was messing up all the manifestations up, messing up with the middle and what not. I decided to go back to the basics and decided to manifest a free coffee, and then decided instead of messing with the middle, I just took the focus off the coffee and put it on something else. And 13 days later, boom, I get my free coffee. That's awesome, brother. So now I'm gonna pick one thing and obsess over it so it won't manifest in the moment. Wait, so I'll pick one thing to obsess over so it won't manifest at the moment. While the one thing I imagine for well, from first person and give my attention to will grow and it will come. There you go, brother. It's at the end of the day, like I said, like we write our own permission slips and there's no rules to manifesting too. So the whole point of it is to uh, it's giving yourself permission to believe the things that you don't believe are possible and making it feel like you have them now. So what you're essentially doing is you're backing off. That's why it's easy for the coffee to come in and detachment. It's not because like I wished for it and then I forgot about it and I have to detach from it. No, that's not the reason that it comes in. The reason it comes in, bro, is because you've you've felt like you already had it. So if you everything you have in life, it's like okay, you own a home and you're leaving work naturally. Where are you going? I'm going to my home. So you don't have to think about your home or where it is and I hope it's going to be there and you're affirming that it's going to be. No, you just know it. So one of the things like I would do, especially like in the specific person realm, would be like I'm driving on the expressway, and I think I've told the story before. Like the exit goes two ways when you get off on this exit. One way would take you to SP's house, and one way would take you to my parents' house. I was still living at home when I was going through this using this technique, and I would be going left, which is towards my parents' house, but I'd be like, oh, my girlfriend lives to the right. And I'm saying all this stuff, and then eventually, boom, that became true. Now there's so many days I go up there, and it's like I do have that split decision if I'm going to go visit them or if I'm going to go visit her. And and I think back on that. So but the point is, you make it where it feels natural. And again, we go back to that Bible line is of pray as though you have already received and it shall be yours. You're already feeling the coffee is yours and you don't need to do anything for it. And you're deciding, I'm not going to mess with the middle because I don't need to because I already have it. And then boom, next thing you know, it comes in. I manifested winning $60 in the lottery after I lost 20 earlier. I felt bad about the 20 and I said I was wealthy. Would I would I even care about losing 20? No, so I stopped caring about it. There you go, Box Media. That's awesome because that was the same thing when I was going through the gambling stuff and I was gambling a lot. I would, I was like, man, there's days where I'm feeling negative and I'm going in there and I don't have the right money mindset. And it's like, I want to win. I was going in there, I need to win. I want to win. I need to win. I want to win. And those would be the days I'm losing. But then remember those times I was coming down here, guys, I won this much money. I got this much money. I did this. Another success story. I'm playing slot machines. I'm playing lottery. I'm doing all this stuff. Money's coming to me from all these places. And I was feeling abundant. I started, this is like kind of something that tripped up. The last month I was kind of absent for a while and it was not giving credit where credit was due and feeling like I had lost my way a little bit. It's like, why was money becoming an issue? It's like, well, you started realizing how much trips cost. And then all of a sudden it got harder to pay the credit cards, but the prices didn't really change. It's like, no, it wasn't like heavier or anything like that. It was like I was getting less clients. I was dried up overtime at work. The slot machines weren't hitting. I wasn't really gambling as much. So it was like all the money's going away, but it's like I was so focused on. I started actually, and it's good to stay organized and know. I'm not saying to go out there and just throw away organization of like your finances, but I was getting so organized. I'm like, I have to make this much to do this, and it was I have to do this to stay on this course, to stay on this plan, and I was trying to micromanage everything. And when I did that, I became so acutely tuned into the minute details of my finances that I started thinking, oh, I'm wrecked, I'm wrecked, I'm wrecked. And I didn't feel abundant. And then it was getting mirrored back to me from people like, oh, you're broke. You're broke. Like mainly one person is my dad. Like, oh, your finances are wrecked, which they're not. This is my thing was I didn't want to touch my savings. And it was like usually I always had money to play with, so I wouldn't have to. And I still didn't have to. But I'm like, man, why is money becoming so hard? And it was like I wasn't winning slot machines. That same thing you did, Box Media, where it was like I went to go gamble. It was like I did a few days like this. It was like I lost. It's like a rich person doesn't care about that. It's like I was going to stores for a while. It's like I don't want to spend this much. I don't like. There were times where I was spending $300, $400, $500 a weekend going out on dates with SP, going on trips, doing all this. Like I would just drop money on my family, friends, everybody. Boom, I'm dropping money. I don't care. when I went into like, oh, I got to start watching the money. You're watching the money. You're watching yourself lose money. It's like I can't find. I need more money. I need more money. And I started looking for lack, and then I started getting hit with. I got hit with a fine here, which was something I was able to use manifested to like. I'm like it's basically if you get a fine here, it's a nightmare, and pretty much like they make it such a pain in the ass, like your thing that you're just going to eat the loss. But I'm like, no, you know what? It's going to get resolved. Less than 24 hours, it's resolved. Sorry, that was meant for somebody else. That fine, but it's like I got hit with a bullshit fine there. It's like late fees came on these other things. I was working on something with SP where like she was going to help me with the money on something, so we had a bill that we were working on together. She came up short, didn't have it, and then I kept waiting and waiting, and then there was like fees there. So all this stuff was adding to negative money mindset. And the second I switched it, it's like I would go to, and I'm not advocating for gambling, but I would go to gambling because it was something I liked to do and I had fun with it. And it was something I could directly kind of gauge my manifesting on, was like, where's my thought process now? I'm not going to a psychic. I'm letting the machine tell me like where my thoughts are. And then like, let's say I would go in there and I would lose money and I would walk out there. A rich person not bothered by losing $20. I mean, I know a guy who fucking drops thousand. He's he's a dude who told me that he's got $400,000 cash, and I believe he's got his shit together. But he'll go and drop $2,000-$3,000 into a slot machine, not give a fuck. That's the money mindset. So that's just a good example. I got way off topic there, but like what Box Media is saying, and immediately changing. That's an immediate revision. Okay, you're worried about losing the $20? No. Who am I? Remember, we manifest what we are. So it's like a rich person does not care about losing $20. And then you get 60. You made 3 times. That's like one of those affirmations. I don't know if you use it as well, Box Media, but one of the ones I use is uh, whatever I put out, I get back 3 times more. Or I make 3 times more than I spend. And boom, that's 3 times more. Hey, Brooke, what's up? I see. Can I still do sets? Can you still do sets if you enjoy it? Meaning you're doing it because you don't think you have it. You just feel like uh, you just like using your imagination. Brooke, that's the best way to do it. Is I do sets all the time. It's like a lot of times it's like it's not really for a specific thing. Like lately, it's like I said, that past month I've been feeling like stagnant because I'm not doing sets for one particular thing. Sometimes it might like sats could be roughly translated to meditation, but state akin to sleep. That's what it is. Sats is state akin to sleep. So you're meditating on usually something you want. But I would be a lot of times using my sats to go back to old memories, and then I guess in a way do revision. But I was just feeling good there. Or then I would just imagine something nice, and I would just kind of watch my thoughts go on the flow. But there were times too. It's like I felt I already had SP, but it didn't form. It didn't come out into the 3D yet. I was just doing it because it felt good. It's like I got nothing to do. I just got home. I finished my workout. I finished my work day. I could throw the TV on and just let my brain rot, or I could scroll through and get literal brain rot from fucking stupid shit on TikTok and Instagram Reels. It's like, or I could sit and do sats, and it's like through that, it's like I'm feeling more connected to my higher self, to God, to everything. Like I just feel more connected and in a better state. I feel anything is possible. So I would just stay like there's no rule to it. Like I said, manifesting doesn't have rules. And it's not like, think about that line, the more you put into anything, the more you get out. You're not doing, but you're coming from the place of I'm doing more because I like to do it. It's like someone who's going to the gym. You're going to the gym, you're putting more effort in, you're doing more things. It's not going to hurt you and be like, oh, I'm not going to make any results now. No, you're going to make more. And you're doing it out of love and passion. So you're having love and passion for that, for your stat session. So you're going to get more out of it. Let's see, the freaking attachment and doubts get crazy so far. I'm gonna do like this till I get the hang of the way you explain it. See, Zach, that's the best way. You wanna, you know, the mini manifestations are so you're not that attached to anything, and it's practice, and it's like the point of them is to build your confidence because a lot of times we understand. We've all read Neville. We've listened to every YouTuber out there. We've done everything we need to do to get to what we want. We've applied a lot of. This is something I'll say a lot of people, but it's really a small portion have actually applied what they've learned. More people are just really experts on knowing about manifesting, not applying it. But then let's say we've applied it, and then like we've applied what we've learned and it didn't formulate yet. We're more or less trying to figure out, does this work? We want to prove if manifesting works and see if it works. So instead of using your big, quote unquote, there's no big or small, but your big manifestation, i.e., $1 million, SP, dream job, whatever, something that there's pressure on, which you create that pressure, by the way, but something that you've created pressure on, some big scenario, instead of using that and making this the end all be all, you're jumping right up to the World Series or to the Super Bowl of your manifestation. You're playing a whole season, which is, I'm going to see a car that looks like this. Someone's going to give me a gift. I always get gifts. You're practicing and playing the little leagues. You're starting out in the minors. You're playing you're playing small ball, so you're ready for the big one. And really, all those games are going on at once. The big thing is happening and the little things happening, but you're training your mind and building your confidence with the little stuff. Reps and sets and workouts for months lead up to what you're going for. What's up, Courtney? I'm finally back. I was going to be back earlier this morning, but I'm here. I guess I bought into the idea of plant the seed, then don't touch it and disturb it till it grows. Exactly, Czak, and you could even do what Brooke does with hers. It's like, it's not disturbing the seed if you go back and you reaffirm something or you say it, because it's like, if you ask me something that's obvious about myself, okay, are you in good shape? Yes, I'm in good shape. Like, it comes to, like, now I'm saying it and that's an affirmation. Do you own a place that you live? Yes. Do you have a job? Yes. So yes, I do have a job. So I could say an affirmation, or I could you say, where do you work? I could tell you where I work and I could see where I work and go from there. And it's like, do you run a manifestation channel? It's like, I see the blue and the white, like it's this blue and white mystic manifesting, like that logo, that stuff pops in my head as I say it. So you can do your affirmations, you could do sets, you could do all that stuff. And you know, that's not going to hinder it. It's not adding too much. It's not digging up the seed. You already know the seed exists, but it's just changing your phrasing a little bit. Sometimes it's just being grateful as if you have it now. So, like, you're coming from the point of already having it. Um, and I'm not saying to react in the 3D, especially if it's a specific person thing, then, because you don't want anyone to think you're nuts or nothing. Be like, oh yeah, we're dating, and everyone knows you're not. But you could be like, oh yeah, in your own mind, it's like, yeah, me and my girlfriend, XYZ, or SP, whatever. Like, you're jumping right to that in your mind. You know it already, and you're relaxed. But it's not by going into an end scene, a meditation, or anything. Anything that makes you feel good is not going to hurt you. It's only going to help you. And here's the free cup of coffee. What's the best advice for getting a girl who had a crush on me, but I haven't spoke to her in years? We are in no contact. The best way is to, like I always say, tutu is like, you want to give this stuff to yourself. So I'm trying to think. Where is one? I did have. It was not for a romantic reason, um, but one of them was a romantic person. This was I know yours is a specific person, tutu, because I know your story already. Um, but I will say, releasing importance from the stuff is a big thing, because if it's so important, it means it's pressurized. It's a big thing. It's like, you got to realize years have passed. You still want it. Okay, cool. It's going to happen. You got to relax in it and realize it's not a big deal. So I thought about this girl who was like a huge crush I had when in grammar school. She was a year older than me, my best friend's sister at the time, and it was I mean, they're still brother sister, but I mean, he was my best friend at the time when we were kids. So I really wanted to be with this girl and stuff like that. And then years went by. She's married. I think she's pregnant now, actually. But maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I don't even think I knew. This was when I was still learning the law, and I think I was trying to manifest the girl I was interested in before the current SP that you guys know. So I was like, okay, let me see if you could get contact from. There was like her, another chick that I had a crush on for a long time, my old boss, my two old best friends, and somebody else. I got their names written down in one of the books, but there was like 5 to 7 people, and it took all the way from. And then and sometimes you forget about things too, but everything you want will come true. It's like within the first 3 or 4 weeks, I'd say out of the, I think there was probably 6, 7. I think 4 people within the first month had come through, and then there was one guy I had a belief that like he didn't like me anymore because someone told me that through the grapevine. It was turned out to not be true. So I started revising that, and I was like, yeah, 4 of them. No, it was 8 people maybe. Because anyway, it was like I did this in the springtime. Then by the fall, um, it was that girl who I had a crush on's birthday, and everybody was writing happy birthday to her and stuff. And she always wrote it to me every year, but it was not for a couple years. So I was like, and wasn't even thinking about the thing. It just popped up on Facebook. Sometimes I don't really write happy birthday to people on Facebook. Sometimes I will. Like yesterday was SP's birthday, so I wrote it. It was like one of the only times I've written on there in a while. So I wound up just wishing her happy birthday. The girl hits me up on text message and say, "Hey, how's it going?" I was still single at the time. She, I think, had just met the guy that she's married to now. We just talked, caught up, and I'm like, hey, that's all I wanted was that confirmation to see, can you manifest contact with people you haven't spoke to in years? 2 other guys, I believe that we had beef with each other, and another guy I believe didn't like me. I started changing those stories. I'm like, no, that's what people told me. He does like me. How would it? And I started having conversations with them as if that assumption of not liking me and those negative things wouldn't have happened. So like the 2 other guys, it was funny because they came in into contact with me through a group chat together. I remember we all used to have a group chat together, and I was like, man, how would that be? And I would just have some imaginary inner conversations with them, and I was like, I pictured them like the way it would reopen would be like the one guy's like, sorry, I've been so busy with life and my girlfriend, and the other guy would be like, I changed my phone number. And I've told the story before a few times. Um, Basically, I had released that, and this was like almost a year from the time I started it. So I'm like, man, this is taking a year. Manifestation shouldn't take a year. Let me um, let me get this contact from these guys. So I changed the story. I have the inner conversations, and within 2 to 3 weeks, boom, they both messaged me. The one guy who's been busy with his girlfriend says, "Hey guys, I've been." He sends a meme and then he goes, "Sorry, I've been busy with life and stuff lately." And I pictured him telling us about like his dreams he had a long time ago that he's actually pursuing them. He was pursuing them. The other guy goes, "I got a new number," but that was someone who's always had the same number, and he's a guy who doesn't like to change, but somehow he did have a new number, and we've been in contact again. And the one guy released the idea that we had beef with each other, and I went visiting my parents. He grew up around the corner from me. He was happened to be visiting his parents that day. I was walking to a store around the corner. He lived around the corner, whatever it was. We happened to be, he was outside by his neighbor, talking to his neighbor. I was walking with my brother, seen him, waved, he waved. And then later on, I was like so excited to see him. It was just a natural thing. I text him because it's been years. And then we ended up having a conversation. We were planning to hang out, but we never did. But point is, it was years since I had talked to all these people. I wrote it down, didn't treat it with much importance, and said, anything is possible. And inevitably, within that 1 year period, like the bulk of them happened right away. The ones I had resistance to, I had to go. I would change the story, even if it didn't make sense. I would make it make sense, and I would enjoy it and all that. You gotta talk to me soon, Courtney. Okay, sounds good. Box Media sending that money. Right now, I'm living in savings. I have no job. I've been laid off for months. I want to manifest winning $1 million in the lottery. I don't want to work a 9 to 5 anymore. What's your opinion on that? So, Box Media, that was one thing that I had struggled with for a long time before I started teaching and coaching, before the SP stuff, before Neville Goddard, before all that. The lottery has always been something that I had wanted, right? And I started realizing that there's a couple things. There's my opinion on it. I've obviously never won the lottery. I've done quite well with gambling, and I've done well with making money, and I've lost money. I've make money and lose money, right? I realized, and this is something from Tom Platz, and I think it's great. I mean, when I met him at the end of the bodybuilding show, we had this discussion. If money comes and goes, it's about the life that you live in between, the legacy, the connections with people. Like that was the one thing me and him really related on. Was money's going to come and go, but in terms of winning the lottery, it's like if we know manifesting, we should be able to, right? But the real question I came the solution or the answer to it that I had gotten. And I know it's going to sound cliche because I know every coach who has not won it, which all of them have not, except for no, that guy Mark Houghton has. There's a few teachers out there who've actually won it and then they used their stuff. But for the most part, I mean, you look at a lot of the coaches, myself included, we've not won it, but we've done well with money and stuff like that. There's, for me, it's like a heavy resistance on it and stuff like that. I think for some of us, especially the way we've grown up, or if we've seen poverty in bad places, or we've seen money being a big thing, it's harder to change that story. Even when you become really positive, I mean, you saw keeping and losing an SP was my big thing. It's like when old stories and old things are weighing heavy, that's the demon. That's the thing that keeps hitting you again and again, and you got to be the guard at your own mind and stand guard there and make sure those thoughts don't come in, especially the money ones. But to get back to your question, Box Media, about winning the lottery, it's like, is that really what you want? Is it, do you want to win the lottery because winning the lottery is your highest passion, or do you want to have so much money that you don't have a 9 to 5 anymore? Because if you have other passions too, like for me, I always thought, I'm like, if I had money, I feel I would be, and it's me really throughout this time getting to know myself, who I am as a person. Right now, I am financially comfortable. It's like I would like to be paid off on a few more things and be able to. I mean, I could spend more. It would just be reckless, and I would be fine, and if I would be tapped into savings and stuff like we were talking about. But if I wanted that lottery thing where it's like the 9 to 5, if I had even more money, I was more comfortable, I wouldn't pursue. I mean, you already see how I slack off on this channel. I have another channel, my comedy one, which I love and have a passion for, but there's no burning desire to do it, no incentive to do it, because it's like I'm too comfortable and it creates laziness and it breeds that. So if you have another passion too, it could be the universe's way of guiding you, or God's way of guiding you to be like, okay, this is the way where the money comes from, but not when it's like, that's why sometimes when people go general, like we've seen this even with myself too, when you manifest a specific person out of thin air, they usually come faster and they're more ideal and things like that, because you've released the resistance. You don't know where they're coming from, who they are, or anything. You've opened up all the channels for it to flow in. Same thing when it's like, I want this amount of money, you're going to let it flow in. And I've said certain amounts of money in my life, and I've hit that certain money goal at certain times, but I've never aimed it like the few times I would try the multi-million, the mega million. I would get in the feeling states, I would get hyped up. Problem was that you would see someone else win it. One of the rules for it from the people I've watched people who've actually won it. You got to wish well on those other people. I would do that, but then it's like you feel a failure. It's almost like when I advise against manifesting on a time crunch. If you don't hit it, you get disappointed. Getting disappointed means you don't have it, and then the whole thing. Usually, a lottery is, it's an anticipation. You're waiting. Today's the drawing. Today's this. Today's that. In my research on it, there's so much hype and excitement on it. It's very hard, and then you're always remembering out the what's it called, what are the odds and things like that. So you're always kind of like working against yourself on that, I feel. But I don't believe that it's impossible. Um, but I do believe opening up and allowing for more paths. It's like maybe you could run into someone who's a millionaire, like Neville's brother did, and Neville's brother's goal was to open up. He wanted to be wealthy, which was the end state goal, but he didn't think he wanted to just open the business. Being wealthy was a byproduct of opening the business to get back at the people who were shady and fucked his dad over. So that was Neville's brother's main goal. Through the process, he wanted to become rich too and make sure the family's taken care of. Somebody who was rich came in and helped them achieve that goal, but he would have never saw that coming. Even he thought it was a prank, and he was using manifestation to do it, and it took him 2 years to do. Brooke says, "Are you a Gemini?" No, I'm fuck. Huh. I was going to say Aquarius. No, not Aquarius. My birthday's March 26th. It starts with an A. Aries. There we go. Thank you, Courtney. Yeah, Aries. That's what it is. Hi, Mystic. Nice to see you online. Nice to see you too, Nan. I'm wanting to get a new SP. This SP had a huge crush on me about 2 years ago. I liked her, but I was in a relationship at the time. But I want the new SP to come into my life. We haven't spoken in years. What's your advice to get her into my life? Well, Tutu, it's kind of like what I said. before. It's like you're not having resistance on it, and the fact that it's been 2 years already, this is a new SP. You don't really care. There's no resistance on it. You could just start saying stuff like she's curious about how things are been with me. She still is in love with me. Like you said, she had a huge crush on you. It's like she can't wait to see you again. I mean, you're gonna be telling her, take a picture. You're taking her for a ride out there in the gold limousine, right? That Buick LeSabre. You got out that limited. Take her out there, or in one of the other nice cars you got. Start, putting together scenes of you guys doing stuff together, feeling good in the moment. It's like go about your day to day, live your life. Basically, whatever you're doing to the SP with resistance, realize the only resistance to that one that had a huge crush on you. It's like, hey, she had a huge crush on you. That's a plus. It's been 2 years. You're still thinking about her. Hey, what I desire desires me. That was one of my favorite affirmations, and it's come in handy. So what I desire desires me. I desire SP, so SP desires me. That was like one of my things, and I've got the tracks on here that I made, and I made them general for you guys. But I would say, put it in your head that way, and it's like she's going to come in the perfect right moment. So then she could be DMing you. You could be out cruising in your car one day, and then see her on the street, and she'll flag you down or something like that, and or you go to the gym and she happens to be working out at that gym. There's a million ways it could happen, but don't worry about how, when, where, or the circumstances. The circumstance is 2 years. You put the perspective of 2 years. Sometimes 2 years doesn't feel like 2 years. It feels way longer or it feels way shorter. Time is relative. It's about how you're perceiving it. So if you perceive it as an obstacle, it becomes an obstacle. Don't put time as an obstacle. He has a lot of videos on the channel saying how. Oh, Brooke was asking me, or Brooke was answering Tutu's question about how. Yeah, I do have. I was looking the other day. I got like 400 videos on this channel. Maybe not. Maybe it's 300 or 200. I don't know. I've been on the channel for 2 years. There were stints where I was making a video like every day, and then stints where like the past 2 or 3 months I have not really made a video. It's just been the lives. I kind of like the lives a little bit better. I don't know. I've been feeling them more. Just tuned in. Good to see you. Good to see you too, John. What's up, brother? Talking less works wonders for me. Well, that's good then, H. Whatever works for you is what you need to be doing. It's all a personal thing. You got to find what works for you and what makes you feel good. To answer your question, I feel like winning a million plus in the lottery would give me security. I do have passions, but I feel like I can't relax and feeling that everything could implode on me. Okay, so Box Media, I've had that same thing and I still go into that too. Your passions, Brooke, whatever you just sent, I just saw it got retracted. So if you want to send it again, or unless you retracted that message, but I got one message from you, and then Courtney's got two about me being an Aries, and then Brooke, whatever you had to con. But to get back to Box, I always had that same thought too. The lottery is going to give me that security, so then I could pursue my goals. And I always said, one guy he used to mock me. That's why I don't hang out with these people anymore about manifesting. He's like, it's not real, it's not logical, it's not science, it's not this. It's like, no, it is actually, because Joe Dispenza has proved that it's science, and scientists have studied it, and there's a bunch of ways to prove this shit. For me, I would say you feel you need that to have that security. You need to feel secure now, like you have the security. So for me, it's like you have to take leaps of, like, one of my things was opening up this gym, and like I said, I haven't taken steps towards it recently. I'm not going to lie. I haven't taken any steps, but it was something I dreamed about when I was a teenager. It was one of my dreams and passions. I followed my next passion, which was that bodybuilding show. I run into a guy who could help me open one. And then I started thinking more like, I think I could open it myself. I don't want to be an expansion of someone else's thing. I'd rather be my own. Let's have Mystic Muscle Gym or something like that. So that's why I haven't really put that much work into that. But when you relax and realize it's going to unfold the way it needs to unfold to get you to where you want, that's kind of the secret to it. And it's feeling secure now. Looking like the whole point of today's lesson is how far you've come, what to be grateful for, what you have now. And it's like, do you really need the money to pursue those passions? Do you really need the money to feel like, are all those millions going to make it feel like the world's not going to implode on you? Because I've had money, more money than I have now, and still feeling like the world's going to implode on me. And I've had less money than I have now, and felt like I was on top of the world. It is where your mindset is. So when I had less money and my mind felt abundant and rich and wealthy and all that stuff, more money was coming in from other sources, and I was feeling more bold to take actions. It's like, starting this channel, it just was, like I said, it was never meant to be what it is now, but it became that way, and it was just me following a passion, and that led to being able to make money through this. Um, what's it called? Doing other passions and going through fitness, and like my passion for fitness led me to working there, and I made a lot of money there when I was. All my other friends were broke. I was working in a gym, and it was just like more hours, more hours. I was having fun meeting people there, then getting side work with them, like doing other things, and you learn more about life. So following a passion has always led me to where I needed to be, and not feeling restricted or like the world's going to implode on you because of lack of money. Yeah, but with SP meaning a person you had history with, you can't manifest a version of, wait, can't you manifest a version of them from a different reality, so the old story should be irrelevant. Not to mention, people are literally manifesting all the time. They're not conscious of it. It's literally the only way we're able to experience physical reality. I think Bashar says that if you follow your passion, your opportunity will come to you since energetically you're in a good space for it. Yeah, Brooks, so you made a lot of points. And Josh, what's up, brother? Glad you're in here. I'll start out with your SP comment. Yes, I mean, even with my SP, it's like months ago, I was like, this is the woman that I fell in love with, but even better. Like, it's almost like a new person. Then I told you the thing where our relationship felt a little bit fractured when I was training for the bodybuilding show, right? During that time, I was pulling old, like, experiences with her that were making me angry, but to drive me in the gym. Then I seen she was changing as a person a little bit, and like felt more like the one that I didn't like, and it was causing rifts between us. And then I switched my thoughts when I realized after the show, I realized like, hey, this shit's not going the way I want it. Switch it around. Then we were doing all the stuff that was actually building us even closer than we were before. And then even in the past week, it's like you switch it back. That's the thing. It's like you're constantly shifting. That's the one thing my SP journey could show you. It's like I'm constantly switching, and especially when it comes to a specific person, it could be shifting. But for the better part of a year, it's like it was like, oh wow, this is even better. But then proving it in a bad way doesn't disprove the law. It just proves I'm firing my thoughts this way, and the world is turning that way. And same thing you saw with my financial situations too. It's like around that same time too, I was like getting anger from the lack situation, which there was no lack either. I was going back to when there was lack, and well, I was not opportunistic. What's it called? I was seeing opportunities when I had that lack, but then I would go back when I was training and think of that, and then all of a sudden, using those negative thoughts, using those negative memories in the present moment created negative future events. So again, to prove another Bashar point, we only have the present moment. We're creating out of the present moment. Your past memories can create just as much as your future visualizations. So it's important when you think of the past, you're only thinking of good memories. When you think of the future, you're only visualizing good things. Because when you're visualizing things that you're scared of and fearful of, those things are going to manifest. When you're remembering bad events, those things are doomed to repeat themselves until you catch that thought. So again, yeah, that's like it's another Bashar point. But then I also see you brought up another point about following your passion. And yes, that was I was actually listening to a lot of Bashar Brooke when I was getting ready for the show, and I was like, man, is this really the highest passion? I was watching videos of Tom Platz and using that for motivation in the gym. And then I was listening to Bashar, and it's just like, I just feel a lot of passion. Maybe I'll do this. And I knew I wasn't going to be as ready as I could with that amount of time, but to push myself into making that progress to get to where I did, I shocked myself physically, mentally, in all these different ways. And then it also, like I said, whenever there's something that's a problem, we don't look at it as a problem. We look at it, how can this benefit me? How is this working out in my favor? I know I can't fuck this up, so how is it working in my favor? And you start taking what lesson can you take out of this? Thank you. You helped. Well, I'm glad, Tutu. We've had a little history. We went on a couple dates before, but nothing came of it. But I saw her about a year ago, and I had another girl with me then, and this new SP still flirted with me. There you go. See, it's like there's another, you could go take, speaking of positive memories, there's a positive memory. You want to think about her, think about that, think about their flirting, think about those dates. Then the future event, where would you take her next? Like if you're already together, where's that date? What's that date look like? What's it feel like? And then another thing I want to say too is like, especially when you're switching from one SP to another, nothing wrong with it. When you're staying with when you're picking an ex, when you're going with someone new off paper, it's important. But this is a thing I want to pass on because it's something no one, maybe other coaches talk about it, but I feel like not enough because it wasn't something that was passed on or something I learned or something I learned on my own. And it's something I'm still going through because now I'm in the relationship, I have it and everything like that. Do not lose yourself and do not forget what you're about because our life, our specific person and our relationships are important, but they are the cherries on top of a life that we built. We should have more passions and hobbies and things that light our soul on fire, and there are passions and there are things we want to do. And our family and our friends, don't forget about the people who've always been there for you. Don't miss opportunities and events with them. Don't stop doing what you love. Don't stop living life waiting on these things. Not saying it's not going to happen, but I'm saying while you're waiting for it, it's like another day. I was almost like a little speeding it up type of thing. I'm like, I need to enjoy these moments because I know she's coming back, and I know I'm going to be so enthralled with her that I'm going to not have these opportunities again. And she would, and then it's one thing you're giving it to yourself in your head, but when it happens in real life, you get kind of taken away with it. And I mean, a lot of times when I'm not doing lives and stuff, it's because I'm being lazy. Like if she spends a Sunday night with me, and then to Monday she goes to work, but I'll wake up early and I'll hit the gym. But she gets up so early, I'm dead tired, and it's like you'd stay awake for your job, but it's almost like I don't stay awake for this, and it's like I have plans. To sometimes I would like to do Friday lives for the members. I would like to do some stuff on the weekends sometimes to keep people up and pumped up. I would like to go record videos with my brother. There's a lot of things I would like to do, and it's like you would chase the relationship so much. It's like you stay enthralled in it, and then you kind of lose yourself to a degree, and it's not a bad thing because obviously, you become like that person. They become like you a little bit in a relationship, but it's your job to stay focused on who you are. Remember who you are and why you wanted that relationship, and it is that a complement to your life, not an asset. And that's something, I mean, I always think I could take personal experiences of what I've learned on manifesting and throw a unique spin to it from what I've experienced and pass that to you guys as well. So you realize that it's not all just about that life is amazing. The journey of this thing is amazing. And the whole specific person journey. And I've said this a few times, and I've said it to a client the other day. The specific person journey is not about getting that person. It is finding yourself and loving yourself. It is an ultimate transformation to become the very best version of yourself. They are the catalyst and the thing that pushes you. Some people, it's a dream or a desire like acting or bodybuilding or movies or whatever, like all the stuff I had before. That pushed me and I would level me up a little bit in life. It was this relationship and this journey with Lily that catapulted me into this overhaul of learning the secrets of life and stuff like that. So you got to realize, like, no matter what bad thing happens, and if you've chosen to be with them again or not, the lesson and the reason for it is it's the catalyst to make you the better version of yourself, so you could fall in love with yourself. That's what I believe. That's what our desires are. Almost all of our desires are that, to make us into better versions of ourselves. But how do I get out of no contact? Tutu, I just said I can't tell you the how. I can tell you what to do, and don't worry about the how. The how is not your business. You need to feel out of no contact now. You need to put yourself out of no contact in your mind. It's not like we're going to go like do a magic spell or do some shit like that and it's going to happen. It's you're going to feel like every night if you want, go to sleep having this conversation, having pillow talk with SP where you're laying in bed talking about that. Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been 2 years and I'm so glad we reconnected and she's cuddled up to you and stuff like that. That is the only thing you can control, your mind and your imagination, and trust that God is going to play it out through the sequence of life. What if I want this girl in my life, but don't want to jump into a relationship? I really want to have a private relationship with new SP. What's your advice? So how does that feel, Tutu? That's my advice on it. You need to come up with how it feels. So, what do you call it? What does a private, like, what is your definition of a private relationship? How does that feel? What are you guys doing together? How do you talk to your friends and family about it? Do you post it online? Do you do it? I'm assuming you wouldn't do all those things. How do you feel when you see her? Why do you want it to be private? These are questions you ask yourself because there are things that will be going through your head while, like, you're in that. When it happens in the 3D, you're going through it, so those thoughts will be going through your head as well. So it would only make sense that, like, your brain is getting ready for it before we're about to get a guest on there, man. The cat's on the couch. But if that makes sense. Fox Media, true story. My classmate manifested a reconnection with an SP. She got into a car accident, and guess who was in the other car? She ended up reconnecting with him, but ended up at the hospital. Fox Media, well, hopefully she's fine and healthy and everything like that. But that's a crazy story because I had always wondered that. I'm like, that was one of the thoughts that went through my head. I'm like, what if she had a very common car and common color. So I'm like, what if I wind up like getting rear-ended by SP, or I'm in traffic and trying to see if this car is hers or whatever. It's like, is that really hers? Is this how it's going to play out? And then we get into a thing and it's her, and that's how we reconnect her. Or she's got a new car and the time we're apart, and somehow I always wondered that, like, if that, I mean, anything is possible. So it's funny you bring that up as an example because that's one I've dwelled on a lot. It's like, what if the person I need to meet to make this next thing in my life happen, or if I need to meet an agent? I used to think about it even when I was like, when I was doing more acting stuff. It was like, what if I meet like the person I need to like excel in my goals by getting in a car accident? It's not a very positive thing to manifest, but some of those times I wasn't privy to the whole law. But I thought that was funny. Truth. If you don't live your life, when do they come? Hold on. Sorry, George. I'm trying to read this, but I'm good. I'm glad to see you, George. Truth. If you don't live your life, when they when they do come back, nothing has changed. You end up having the same old relationship. Yeah, George, exactly. And it's like it becomes like they're your sole fixation on life. And then it's like the more time you spend around someone, the more assumptions you make about them, and then the more things you see them do. And then it goes back to like now you're stuck in this whole, you're spending too much time with them and you don't know who you are anymore. So you're just trying to gauge like the biggest point of your life becomes that person. So it's like an obsessive thing and you don't want to do that. That's why I say live your legacy. That's why I got that whole like little set of merch where it's like, everybody talks about when they die, they're going to leave a legacy, which we all are. When we pass away, our legacy will be what we have left the people with who are still here. What advice, what life we lived, it's going to leave a legacy. But don't forget to live the legacy, live your life while it's happening, while you're putting things together. How to improve self concept. Have you seen Neuro Knowledge? I don't know. Oh, I think I do know who Neuro Knowledge is. Neuro Knowledge is the black British dude, right? I think that's who he is. Somebody told me about him once, and he's popped up in my thing a few times. Sorry for blowing up your chat. I don't mean to. No, it's good to. You help me drive the chat. And how do you improve self concept? For me, it's always been the gym. Like when I'm training, I'm like, wait till SP sees me, wait till this. And it's like that's kind of the wrong way to train too, because you're not doing it to impress them. You're doing it for yourself to feel good, and it becomes like Tom Platz calls it an art form, and it is. You're expressing yourself physically, or you go do martial arts. Martial arts is like you're not going out to go kick everybody's ass, but you're so confident in your ability that if anybody wants to confront you or fuck with you, you can now defend yourself. If you're a really good comedian, whatever anyone throws at you, you could dismantle it and roast the shit out of them. Like you've separated yourself from the pack because you've made yourself unique and an individual and very good at a specific thing where you build confidence in that realm. Even if it's art or writing or something like that, and becoming successful in a certain realm, you now have confidence in yourself. Even if you're just a writer or an actor or a painter or whatever, it doesn't have to be anything physical like martial arts or bodybuilding or something like that. But whatever you do, you're really good at it. And you're good at it. You're not cocky or arrogant. You're confident and you're humble about it. And you know that I don't need to yell about this or tell everyone how good I am. You could just be relaxed and chilled out that this is who I am. I'm confident in who I am. If I have to do anything with these skills, I can. And then that builds up your self confidence. So when you're talking to SP or anybody in life, you're not this person trying to prove something to them. No, you're this person who's done this and this and this, and you don't need to talk about it, yell about it, rant about it. If it comes up, it's like, no, I just carry myself with this confidence that I am somebody worthwhile to myself in life. The whole process has been painful, but I honestly don't think I would have made the kind of changes I did in depth and wouldn't have it any other way. I'm exponentially a better man now than ever. George, I completely agree with you. I had somebody a long time ago ask this question, and I bring it up a lot, saying, "Would you take it back after all the pain she put you through and stuff like that?" No, I would not. And there's two that's a kind of a loaded question too, because I nobody puts you in pain. They could do things that hurt you, but why do they hurt you? It's they hurt your emotions and stuff like that. But the things hurt you because you allow them to hurt you. And it's easier said than done to be like, I'm not hurt by this. No, it hurts. But you become stronger. You become a better version of yourself because of those things. I wouldn't take it any other way. I love the pain that I went through because I needed that catalyst to become the man I am now. And I wouldn't have learned the things I've learned. I wouldn't help the people I did. You know, there's a lot of people who were like at death's doorstep ready to check themselves out because of situations like this. But if I hadn't been there already and been there because of situations that and then allowing myself to get myself to those points and then learning to get out of them, I wouldn't have been able to help those people. So the world is a better place because I had gone through that pain and transmuted it into something more positive. Let's see. Hold on. I missed a message from Courtney. I don't know if I had left a message about this, but it actually happened with my Santa Claus SP. I finally gave up on trying to see him and turned right instead of left, and him and his sister were turning into a parking lot and turning out. As soon as I dropped off, I saw him one car over. So, and I didn't know if there's any more coming after that. Courtney, I don't know if you told me that because that sounds new. I don't think that's been the story that you told me. But and since it is new, I'm going to congratulate you on that. That's awesome. Yeah, he's the Black British Jude. You should watch him. I'll have to check him out. Somebody told me about him. They said that I would get along with him, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll have to see. I've been thinking about reaching out to some more coaches again to kind of get the round tables going again, where I just chat with people. Um, how can I make an SP obsessed with me, like her going above and beyond for me and only me? So two, I'm not gonna throw like put this in your face or nothing, but you did ask the similar question last week. And I don't mind repeating myself and stuff. I'm not gonna be like these coaches who are like, I already told you this. I'll repeat myself, but I'm gonna remind you when I'm repeating myself. Um, I can't tell you how it's gonna like play out. But number one is you seeing it that way. So when you receive attention from them, even though it might not be your exact definition of obsessed, it's feeling like, oh, this is that. And imagine if, and it's like, wouldn't it be wonderful if she had been more like this? And it's like, and you're feeling more positive about it each interaction you have, even if the interactions are only like, I've been in the thing where it's like you had a base positivity off getting unblocked, one unblocking, turning it into wow, she's so obsessed with me. That that is a hard thing to go through, but and you're not even in that situation. So turning things that haven't happened yet into things that they are, using your imagination. I mean, at the end of the day, your imagination, getting lost in those thoughts and that visualization of how does it feel that she's spoiling you and focused on you, and reminding yourself that okay, I am somebody who's worthy of that. Because a lot of times, when you want to feel that way, it's because you want someone to treat you that way so you can feel validated. It's because you don't feel that way about yourself. You don't feel that you're worth being obsessed over or valued at a high level like that because you don't value yourself like that. You kind of want them in your reality so that they can do that for you so you could feel that way. But remember, it starts with you. I use hypnosis for self concept. It's great. And I get a free nap. There you go. Uh oh. Hold on. I don't know what just happened. Adobe just kicked me off. Am I still here? What to do when you go to Subway? What do you do when you go to Subway? Uh, Tutu, I don't understand that question. I've never eaten at Subway, and I haven't taken the Subway in 8 years. Chicago only has one quote unquote type of Subway. Ah, damn. Cheap ass cigar set me on fire. Sure, my carpet's not ruined. George, signing up for jujitsu is one of my goals. I kind of seems like two dudes dry humping each other, but we're gonna try it out. No, you should, brother. I've done jujitsu before too. I'll tell you, being a guy who sweats a lot, and then in the weight class that I got placed with was like this big fat dude who also sweats a lot. And my brother was the one that got me into all the fighting stuff. That was more his thing. I wrestled in high school, and I knew a little bit of boxing and kickboxing from this guy I used to work out with. But then a couple years ago, actually through the SP journey, and my brother got me into it because it's like, I'm gonna be here to support my brother, and we're gonna work together on goals and stuff like that. He did say, he goes, the clash when you guys, like, before you guys went like to rolling on the ground, like you started from the feet position up. He goes, the way you guys slammed into each other was like two big walruses and all the fucking sweat flying everywhere. So it's sweaty, it's nasty, but you get down and dirty and it's fun. How much time should I spend visualizing? I really hate the idea of preparing my resume slash individual skills. I'd rather work on connection creation, my passion. Or, oh, my mistake. Content creation, my passion. I feel like I have to go job hunting. Well, Box Media, I'll tell you this from another creative person. I mean, you see me, the manifesting coach, right? And I'm sitting here doing this, and in the morning I have to go to a job that I don't really want to go to. But it's more or less I just don't want to go sit in an hour and a half of traffic. I told you guys like what my job is now. That job is not really anything. I'm going there, getting good money to show up and leave. And that was like the job I always wanted when I first learned about this type of work, because I heard only rumors about guys with jobs like this, and I wound up in all the most ball busting ones. So I had this disdain for it, and a part of me wanted that 9 to 5 that I could hate because it would be a catalyst to drive me towards my goals. But then really it was just making me so full of hate and anger, and that hate for the attention I was putting on that 9 to 5 kept me stuck there, and it made me not want to do my passions. And it's like when I would, it's like I was expecting to fail at them and then have to go back to the job that I hated, and it was a vicious cycle. So I would say, there's no reason you can't do both. And I'm gonna tell you this from someone who's done it and someone who's been too lazy to do it. You live both lives. If money is an issue and you need to get a 9 to 5, it's like obviously there's stuff where like Neville even talks about this. He knew about manifesting money and stuff like that, and he'd always been taken care of. But then he had a kid, and I can't remember which speech it's in, but I'm gonna have to find it. Maybe we'll start going back to listening to the Neville speeches. But he had one where it's like he goes, but he had to basically grow up. He was like married with a wife and stuff like that. But then when he had a kid, it's like he had to grow up and be like, okay, he went and worked at J.C. Penney. But it was like, that's probably like when it first opened. But he said he was a stock boy, and it was like, and he didn't like it. And you could tell me, you guys know, if you listen to Neville, you know his personality. It's like he don't want to be stocking shelves. He's a visualizer. He was a dancer. He's an artist. He's a creative, like many of us are, and we want to just create. So that's why I would say, if you're not creating anything, go and create stuff now. When you're posting stuff online, say that all my videos go viral. This video is going to take off, and you have that assumption. And if it doesn't, don't beat yourself up, because I've been there before too. And it's like, and then right when I was ready to give up on one, I have this stupid video because I needed to post something. It was with the comedy channel. It was a blooper, and it became a viral video. Not fully viral, but it got like 500,000 to 1 million views. For me, that was impressive, but it was something I wasn't even trying on. So always assume that your stuff's going to take off. Or if you wind up getting a job, that you could even use the positives, like change the meaning of stuff, make a positive a negative, but it's really a positive. So it's like, oh, I already know it's going to suck because once I get the job and they say you're hired, I'm going to be going viral and I'm going to get offered all these things and I'm going to have to choose. And then at that point, then you choose your dreams and your passions and following those. But don't be limited, feeling like everything's closing in on you and you have to hurry up and you have to do this and you have to do it now. That was one of my things where I felt everything was closing in. And somebody told me one time, I think I mentioned this earlier, if you won the lottery, what would you do? I said, I would just make content all the time. I would love to just keep doing comedy skits and all these things. Well, one, I never won the lottery, but look at me now. It's like I pretty much had the lottery with a job where I show up and I go home. I got plenty of time. There's no excuse for why I don't do what I do other than laziness and that comfortability. Use the job as a blessing if you have it. When, especially if it's when you're uncomfortable at, like I was. I was making more when I was uncomfortable. I was making more when I was heartbroken. The pain can put you through. Could you could transform that pain, because pain is an energy. You could take that energy and you transmute it into something positive. And how do I completely recreate someone from how they were before? Like make them act completely different and like a different person. So you're not trying to like manipulate and be like, this is gonna be like this. If there's infinite realities, there's infinite versions of us. There's a version that's like you. There's a version that's like this and this and this and this. There's a version that's loving of that person. Because it sounds like, okay, this person already wants to be with you. You had wanted to be with them before, or there was kind of that thing uh, where you know you you said that there was that she wanted to be with you, right? So why would she not treat you that way? You're looking for, like, she's not going to treat you that way, and you have to change her and this and that. There's no changing. You're selecting a reality you want. And when you do that, reality has to react in a normal way. So the person slowly becomes like that, sometimes in major jumps really fast, or sometimes it takes over time. And then you look up, it's like, oh, wow, that happened. But you don't want to put too much focus on it. Like a technique I would do is like, I wrote SP currently and I wrote SP ideally. And I wrote down all the things I didn't like about the current SP, and I put down all the things I did. And while I was doing that, I took my time. I really focused on it. And every now and then I would pick it up, and it's like, wow, cross that negative thing off, and then look at this positive that happened too. And it's like I circle it or cross it off or whatever, or check mark it. And it's like no contact, blocked everywhere, hates me, blah blah blah, all these bad things. Always in contact, loves me, wants to spend time with me, wants to do this, wants to do that, buys me gifts, and all this stuff. Or it's like doesn't give a shit about it. So I would take all these things, and then eventually, and there was a live stream a while back, maybe a year ago, where it's like I went through and it's like within 6 to 8 months, through ups and downs, it got ugly in the middle. I'm not gonna lie, I don't bullshit you guys. There was ugly shit, but eventually at the end of it, that list, all the negative shit was crossed off, all the positive shit was highlighted, but I didn't put that much attention on it. I just knew, I had the assumption whatever I write down becomes true. I recently heard a good quote: when a man changes, he changes the world around him. I'm going to show my wife and kids what a man does when he's in crisis. There you go, George. That's awesome. I love that quote too. That's a great quote. When a man changes, he changes the world around him. That's great. My bad. I didn't mean to repeat. Truly, my apologies. No, Tutu, you don't have to apologize, but I will always remind you, because sometimes there was a thing where it's like a lot of people, like, they'll be coming around for a long period of time, but then, like, I'm like, well, why don't you have movement or whatever? And then eventually they'll buy a session, and we get to the session. Well, what have you been doing? Manifesting. Okay, what's your technique? What are you doing? They're not applying anything, and then it's like, well, bro, I've answered that question for you a million times, and I'm not being a dick, but I would say, like, I've answered this question. It kind of burned me out as a coach for a while, because the amount of people doing that, listening to me, and then I'm feeling like I'm a bad coach. But a coach can tell a player what to do in the game. He could tell you what plays to run. He could tell you what's this and that, what has worked for him, what has worked for his teams in the past. But if the player is not applying himself, or they're not doing the drills correctly, or they're half-assing it, they're not going to achieve what they want to achieve. So I'm not someone who's, I have a coach in mind who I'm picturing, who fucking yells at people and shit like that. I don't do that. That's not my style. I can be like that, but to me, it's like I don't want to be. That was like my style. If I was coaching in athletics or anything like that, I'm going to be yelling and screaming and things like that. But I think, you get more by being gentle with people, gently pushing them into what they need to do, but sternly. I also want to try kayaking. Seems soothing. So many things to discover. I want to get to see what I like, to find out who George really is, other than someone who refers to himself in third person. That's pretty good, George. No, I wouldn't do the kayaking part. For you, do it, but for me, so like in Chicago, they got the Chicago River, I'll look down, I'll see people kayaking, and they got big ass boats and yachts going through and barges. They're kayaking along the side of the wall. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. And then my ass tipping over. No, I will swim. I've swam in the ocean and shit like that, but I don't like the kayak. I don't like the little claustrophobic thing. It's not my style. But that's the thing. Do what you want to do and enjoy life. Like, because think, maybe, I mean, yeah, not saying you could choose a version of SP that's into all that same stuff, but imagine like you pick up kayaking as a hobby and then SP comes around and she's like, oh, I want to go kayaking. It's not just like, okay, we're going to learn this together. You're now the man who's been there, done it. Let me teach you, baby. Let me show you this. Let me show you that. Let me show you the world because you're now a well-traveled guy who's got his shit together. So, and you've learned things about yourself. You found out who you are. And I tell you, it's like, even now, it's like, I've had all my stuff together. It's like kind of in the past month is what I've been asking myself: Who am I? What am I? What do I want to do? It's a little bit harder when you're in the relationship because now you have the influence of that, as well as the stuff that comes with it, your friends and your family, and the character you've built for yourself already. You have a lot of things on you. That time when you're single, it was easier to decide who I was, to know who I was, because there's no influence of anything other than myself. Those alone times are a blessing, in my opinion. I just want to do self concept. I feel heartbroken that he's still with her. What should I do if I'm too emotional for this SP journey? I'm breaking my heart into pieces. Well, little mixer, a couple points on it. Number one, you're you're breaking your own heart because you're looking to see, and then you get validated. Okay, is he with third party? Third party's still there. My heart's broken. I'm giving my heart permission to be broken. We're humans having we're souls having a human experience. We're human beings. We experience emotions. That's fine. You can't dwell on them. And sometimes it's like, all right, you gotta like grab yourself and pick yourself up and say, I am not. I am going to overcome this. Now, if that person, if there's too much pain there and you don't want to do it anymore, or you feel that that's not the best thing, prove manifesting to yourself. I always say do the mini manifestation list or script out a perfect SP. Like, how would it feel to be like that? Because sometimes, a lot of this is a trusting process, letting it unfold, letting it come to you instead of trying to do so much. We're not out here like manipulating this and that. We're literally setting intentions, wishes, and beliefs to God in the universe and just letting it flow into us. Becoming, we are like, what? There's a Bible story, I believe it's in the Old Testament, where it's like God told, it's like when the Israelites left Egypt, they were out in the desert for like 40 years, and it's like there was a drought. They didn't have no food, and God's orders were to dig the ditches, but there had not been rain in years or like months or whatever. Like there's no water, it's a drought. It said dig the ditches. Why would we dig ditches if there's no water? You're preparing for it. As soon as the ditches were dug, they were filled with water, right? That's a story out of the Bible. It's asking it's asking for what you want and preparing to receive it. I mean, my SP, there was a story where she said, I will never go to your parents' house because she met me. I was 2 weeks after I turned 23. About 6 months after that, she was like, well, the whole time, I'll never go to your parents' house. And I don't want you to come to my house because she was 38. I was 23. So it was like an age difference thing. She didn't want to go. I cleaned, like, she's like a big clean freak. My basement was not that clean. I was living in the basement at the time. I cleaned it, and the whole time I was preparing for when she's going to be there. And like my mom was down there cleaning and doing some stuff too. I was telling her about, oh, she's going to come over. I'm going to do this and that. And I'm talking about it as if it's going to happen. But I was physically preparing for it to happen too. And Florence Scovel Shinn has a story about that. But a guy who walked out on her, and then he was like a sea captain or something. He went out, he traveled the world. He was with some other girl and stuff like that. And Florence told the girl, how would your house be if he was there? She prepared the house how it would be if he was there. And then the dude came back. Came back and proposed to her too. So that's why I say like anything is possible, but if it's too much of a, no one is saying you have to be with that particular person, Little Mixer. That's you've decided that you need that person to be happy. You've decided that and put yourself there. You've decided because there's a third party, you're going to be broken. You've decided that you can't be happy. And I know it's easier said than done, but when you see it from that realm, it's like, yeah, I am the one holding myself back. I have to open up and say, anything's possible. What are your passions? What are things you like to do? The point of it is like you're going to sleep, and if you're waking up and it's not there, you say, thank God it is here. I'm so thankful it is here because you're feeling that it's done already. No matter what you see, your eyes, your ears, your nose, all this stuff, all your senses are are the things that are, you know, you're not relying on those. You're relying on what's in your heart and in your mind, your imagination. That's what's getting you to where you need to be. I've been unsure of which SP I want. Wait, I've been unsure of which SP I want is going to affect the process, or just doing, or just have to prepare for both of them coming in for now. So two, it's, you don't want to overthink it that much. It's like, if you want both of them, then prepare for how it's going to be with both of them. If you want just the one, the new one, it's like, I'm so thankful, because you mentioned all like the drama with the other one. I'm so thankful I don't have to put up with that drama. This girl's just so much more loyal because I don't think you know enough about her personality. Who's to say she's already not like the girl that's going to be obsessed with you and do all this stuff for you and the perfect woman? You've been on a few dates with her and stuff. But who's to say she's not already that? And in the 2 years you haven't really spoken, that she's become more like that, and that when you're together, like you won't even think about the other SP anymore. And the thing was, I didn't think the other one was going to come back, but it was something I had affirmed for. She came back while I was with this SP, my current SP. There was a chick for a brief period before that that I was really trying to manifest. When you're trying, you get more trying. You don't actually get the results. So when I had detached and I was enjoying my relationship with Lily, this other chick comes back around in the picture and wants to be with me. So there's a chance. It's like, not a chance, but it's like she probably will reappear. But then it's your choice at that time. That's your free will to choose what do you really want to experience in life. I feel like the more you focus on you, the more clear the oath becomes. I become It becomes easier to relax and easier to live in the end of being happy with your SP because you're worthy of it. I am relaxed. Mind is more open to ideas. George, that's the perfect way to be. You want to be relaxed and enjoying your life, and it makes it easier for SP to come in because the world is a mirror. Through that process, you're loving yourself and the man that you've become. The world has no choice but to love the man you've become. Other men are going to respect you and look up to you and want to be around you and admire you and be your friend. Women are going to want to pursue you. Your SP is going to want to come back. There's becoming that version. You're already teaching yourself to expect it. Box Media says, thanks for answering my question. Well, thanks for being here, Box Media. Thank you for answering my questions too. No problem, Tutu. I got to run, babe. I'll text you later. Sounds good, Courtney. You let me know. You tell me some more success stories. What if both my SPs are friends? What advice was your advice on that? How to stop spiraling? How does manifesting people work? What's the science behind it? All right, so there's three questions right there. I'll start out with the first one. Well, with them being friends, now you've set a circumstance, right? I was at one point before my SP, I was talking to two girls I grew up with, which I was not sure they were friends. They were best friends in grammar school when we were all kids. I didn't know they were still friends later. Like, and I was flirting with both of them at the same time, and then I saw them post a story together, hanging out, and I was like, "This is not going to end well. They're going to be talking about me because I'm such a, this is early days of manifesting too. So I barely knew the rules and stuff like that. Not that there's rules, like I said, we set our own rules, but I barely understood how sensitive your mind and the stuff could be at times. I'm like, that's it. They're going to talk about it, and because I'm such a memorable guy, they're both going to talk about me and that they're flirting with me, and they're going to be like, "Oh, who you been talking to? Oh, remember Nick?" And that, wait a minute, I'm talking to Nick, and sure enough, yeah, that kind of played out that way. But then later on as the years went on, I still wound up, there was contact later on, but nothing ever came of it. But that was something feared that, and that came through. Um, how do you stop spiraling? Well, what's causing you to spiral? Here's the thing: you're spiraling because you're overthinking it, and you're putting so much time, and you're obsessing over this. You're obsessing over every little minute detail instead of trusting that it's going to unfold the way it needs to happen. You need to know what is your end scene, what is your end desire. Go to the end, right? And trust that that's going to unfold. If you don't want the other one to know and you just want the one, how does life with her feel? And if the thought of them finding out about it, the one you really want to be with, it'd be like joking with her in your imaginal conversation that, hey, this is not what do you call it? oh, what if she finds out this and that? Because I used to have that with like this one girl that I was speaking to a long time ago, who was the original SP before the whole stuff with Lily. We used to have that conversation because she was dating someone that was in my friend group, which I wasn't close with him, but he was in the group. Uh, and I had a lot in common with this girl and stuff like that. And I wound up just hitting her up on Instagram one time. And anyway, that led one thing led to another. But I used to like have these imaginal conversations, like, oh yeah, if she's ever like, oh yeah, well, what if he finds out about us? I was like, oh fuck him, you know what? Who cares if we'd be telling jokes about it? So, and if you can't get out of overthinking about it, that's why you have a hobby, a passion, and things to do. You go get busy because wherever attention goes, energy flows. So you're putting attention into the negative, your energy is flowing to that. You're focused on it. That's your obsession, and you're putting more energy towards what you don't want. So removing your energy completely or being neutral to a situation is more powerful than putting negative energy towards something. And how does manifesting people work? You're like, okay, so it's gonna sound batshit crazy, but I've referenced this a few times. But there's multiple timelines, right? There's with like all the movies, the what is it, like Marvel's got the different universes, right? Where like there's a different version in each one. You're selecting the lifeline, the timeline where the person treats you a certain way, and you're with that person and what that's like. The only way you can do that is jumping to the end. Everything's happening now at once. When Neville says creation is finished, it means that every possible reality has already existed. Everything that's going to happen, will happen, or is going to or has happened is already there. That's how you go back because even something in the like the theory of revision, which there is success stories, other people have done it. I've had my revisions, but it's something I'm not very. It's a negative assumption to say, but it doesn't feel natural for me. It's something that's hard for me to do. I understand the principle of it. I don't like revision that much, but the theory of that working is going back and changing something because there was already another timeline. You're switching it. No, I experienced this one, and convincing yourself you experienced that. Same thing with the future. It's like boom, 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 boom. All these different things could happen. There's infinite futures that could happen. Selecting the one you want and just staying focused on that is putting the energy towards it, and that's what's going to happen. And the science behind it, I'm trying to think of a good example for the science behind it. I mean, Joe Dispenza is the best one if you want to look into the scientific stuff. But then again, I'll continue into the. Let me put a little footnote on it before we go into the Joe Dispenza stuff too. If you're focused on the science and proving it, it's not really you're walking in faith. You could know all the theories of manifesting and then doubt them and still achieve your goal. But then the more you're focused, you got to be careful that you're not focused on figuring out if manifesting is real more than you're focused on your goal, if that makes sense. So when you're trying to figure out what's the science, who else said this, who are the other researchers, what are more success stories, you become more obsessed with the manifesting culture, history, and science aspects and understanding if it's real before you become like, they talk about it in every religion and faith, walking in faith. So like Joe Dispenza will show like when they're meditating and like they're praying away and meditating away cancer in people's bodies, people who haven't seen being able to see like medical miracles, which are I think even more fantastic than a specific person thing. But I mean, at the end of the day, miracles happen every day. It's they're like Joe Dispenza puts like they got like the what do you call them, like the nodes on their head or whatever, like where it can measure their brain waves and like it highlights parts of their brain that are active. And it's like you'll see like the pineal gland and stuff, which is like something that's like it's a small little gland in your head, which is quote unquote the third eye, I guess. Um, I know there's like this science, more science behind it, but like parts of the brain that are usually dormant and they don't really do anything, they're like glowing and lighting up when they're hitting these meditations. And I've listened to Joe Dispenza meditations. To me, they're a little bit more complicated than stats. I like to do things my way, but at the end of the day, I'm sure that I'm highlighting and hitting the same points because my stuff's happening too. But they're like tapped into this whole like meditation brainwave thing that like I don't know how to explain it, but if you want to know the scientific stuff, I would say go to him. I could only tell you I'm someone who teaches off personal experience and what I've seen and what I've done, things I've read and how I've applied them and people I've worked with that have had success. I'm someone who just works more on faith of stuff. Well, even though I was doubting a lot of my process too, but I realized at times I was focused more on How, why, where, when, is it possible? I feel like those things. What's the slogan? You can't fuck this up. That's the slogan, but all you could, but what you can't do is delay shit, and that's what I was doing. I just feel like he's never coming back, no matter how much I affirm. I don't know why. Well, little mixer, you've put that onto yourself now. That you're putting on a limitation to your affirmations. So you're doing a technique that you know works, and maybe it's getting movement. But remember, there's always movement. There's movement in the background. We just have to trust it. But then you're like I said, you can't fuck it up. But you might just be delaying it. It's like it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And he's never coming back, no matter what. Is one hell of an affirmation, one strong affirmation to suppress everything else that you've been doing. So there were times where I felt like that, but it's like I would not affirm it. I don't want to write it. I don't want to say it because it's like if I just do what everyone else says and it's worked for all these other people, why is it not going to work for me? What is different about me than all these other people online? Either they're all fucking liars and making this shit up and assholes, and I'm an even bigger asshole for following it, or and then I'm just going to accept what is and move on with my life, or there's something to this, and I'm about to figure it out, and I'm about to go blindly in faith because I don't have nothing else to lose. I just want to try this, and those are the choices you have. So it's like at the end of the day, little mixer, like you've been around for a while, and it's like you're more focused on. Someone seems like it's more focused on the how. You need to see the results before you experience it, and leaning more towards the negative, and almost like you're look. And in a way, it's you are looking for it to be more of a negative. You're in the process of manifesting always. Like you're manifesting an SP. You need to be someone who has the SP you want. Manifesting and having manifested. You've manifested your SP before. You've done techniques to achieve it. And the techniques are to make the only reason of the techniques don't manifest shit. That's why there's different techniques because each one works for somebody else. Each one works for somebody and they all work. I've tested all of them. Personally, I've tested all these techniques and they've worked for me. You need to find the one that works for you that feels believable. The technique doesn't manifest, you do. You have the power. They are tools to help you get to that mental state that already has it. So you need to not limit yourself like that. And if it is, you need to really ask, is it that specific person or nobody? Or do you want to just be loved by somebody? Because in that case, then do go general. What do you have to lose by manifesting in somebody general and experiencing that? Like just experiencing complete love from somebody else who's not the SP, but watch what happens. The SP comes in shortly after conforming into that too, because you've opened yourself to someone to be someone that deserves that. I did a little script of what the ideal version of myself looks like and what it would feel like, but my values are what my values are, and I read it and I feel down. Why do you feel down, George? You did a little script of what your ideal version of yourself looks like, what it would feel like, and what my values are. And I read it and I feel down. Yeah, why would you feel down if the ideal about the ideal version of yourself, George? Is it possible to manifest thicker hair? I believe so. I mean, I use this stuff castor oil because I felt that I was like receding for a long time. There was a time where I know I was receding because I was 19 and I was stressed the fuck out at a job I hated, and I was working in a hotel industry. And I remember like I was so depressed I didn't even want to shower and stuff. So I would take these ghetto ass showers where I'd lean over the side of the tub and wash just my hair and throw on deodorant and just go there. And like I didn't give a fuck about anything at the time. When I was doing it, chunks of hair were coming out. Like I was losing hair. And quitting the job, then it's like, okay, you're not stressed, so the hair kind of comes back. But then I always felt like it was thin here. Um, SP always tells me mine's not going away, but I had seen thinner parts, and I had seen the hairline going back more. And I remember certain haircuts I got. Sometimes I was getting fades and everything like that. I saw that it was less. Now there's more. I put castor oil on there, but that's the permission slip to say it's growing back, and I've only been doing that for 6 or 8 months. But I believe that's possible. I used to always say like I was going through stuff like, oh my, like it was like affirmations, or every time I thought about my dick, I would say it was bigger. And SP had confirmed that when we were, it was like through one of our times when we got back together, and it was like she was kind of drunk at night. And she goes, "It doesn't sound weird, but it's bigger." And so I was like, "Damn, that I was so excited at that manifestation, two manifestations in one night. We're back together, and that." So I mean, anything is possible. I mean, people are manifesting away cancer, being able to see and hearing and stuff like that. All those things that George Spencer talks about. So why would that not be possible too? Or another thing too is you get led to a certain thing, like I said, like the castor oil for me, or damn mosquito came right through that. Or like or the hair transplant thing, or like you get the money for that, or whatever it is. It yeah, put this smoke right here by this, burn that little fly or mosquito on the laptop. But you'll be led to something that will get you there. Yeah, this shitty ass cigar is falling apart in my mouth. Is affirming a few sessions a day enough to reprogram your subconscious? Little mixer, it's this is the hard part because for me, I've used affirmations, but I would use them in the morning and before bed. You need to use them as much as you need to use them. There were times where I was like all day, every day, yeah, again, again, again. For me, the only time using them all day was really working was when I was using that Parrot app. I like the Parrot app because that helped me. But a few sessions a day, if that feels good. The point of it is to feel, you want to use them to make it feel natural. The problem with affirmations, why I was never a big fan of them, and even Neville's got a thing where he's talking about they're just vain repetitions. You use them too much at times, you're reminding yourself you don't have something 4 or 5 times a day. Now you're in the reminder state. If SP pops in your head and it's like, no, he loves me, and whatever other ones you rattle a few of them off and you continue your day, or you just rattle them off till you feel good and you go about your day and you don't think about them. It's not like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, gotta hit them. No, it's not like a workout where you got to be on schedule and get the shit done here and there. No, it's just like as you need it, do it. That's what I would do with all my stuff. I've always worried about my subconscious affecting my manifestations as well, repeating stuff enough to change those false beliefs, or maybe just providing or proving to yourself that who you say you are by consistent actions. Or maybe it's just proving to yourself that you are who you say you are by consistent actions. Uh, it's a little bit of both, George. Um, your subconscious will kick in, and all the stuff you've been affirming for yourself and visualizing that will kick in and do it. And then, you have that subconscious belief by showing up and proving to yourself you're that man who you need to be and want to be by doing those actions with the belief system that they are going to get you closer to what you want. That marries with the subconscious, and then things start showing up to reaffirm to you that what you are doing is enough. They go hand in hand. There's a sport car I want to manifest, BMW i8. I think that's the one someone tried to sell to me a couple months ago. But I got nervous about it getting keyed or vandalized by a jealous, eat the rich type of people. And there's lots of those people in my city. Yeah, that's the thing. You got to like. Well, here's the thing too. It's like I'm doing the Joe Biden thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I've been doing a lot of that this whole thing. Here's the thing about the sports car. I like cars. I like to go fast. But I had the same thing. The sports car that I wanted. It's like it's very in Chicago. You don't want to have that because yeah, you got the eat the rich type, but you also got people who are like, hey, let me take that car though. Like, let's take the fucking car. So, and I work park in a parking garage where people are fucking just jerk offs and a half and they smash into your car. So I had the same fears of that. But remember, we attract what we fear. I got another friend who is in even worse parking lot driving a brand new fucking Mustang, black, polished up, clean, and nobody keyed it. Nobody nobody slammed into it, nobody crashed it, no one stole it, and he don't live in the best part of the town. Well, he lives in a good part of town, but the good part of town is surrounded by a lot of bad parts of town. So he's cruising through there, and the bad parts of town at nighttime cruise through the good part of town and steals vehicles. So nothing has ever happened to that guy's car. I had another guy who had a really nice car, and he had the well. I don't see the appeal to it, but I know people like it. He has a Durango, and he lived in a bad part of town. For a long time, it wasn't bothered, but then like the stealing of that type of car, the Dodge Durango, I don't know why that was so desired, but it was getting stolen a lot. And he's like, oh, and he was like watching it out the window to see if it got stolen. He was always checking for it. So in a way, he was looking for that to happen. So whatever you expect to happen will happen. If you get your nice car, just assume like, hey, I got plenty of money to buy another one or get this fixed if I got it fixed, but ain't nothing gonna happen to it. Nothing's gonna happen to this. It's like when I go to like SP lives in a neighborhood that a lot of people wouldn't want to go to. I go there like it's home now. It don't bother me. And when I first went there, I was a little bit nervous, but I'm like, nothing's gonna happen to me. And I've been in situations where it's like, by all accounts, you're probably gonna get fucked up in this situation, and nothing ever happened to me because I have that core belief that, like Neville, like when he was like yelling at that tall blonde dude or whatever, and the one thing where he's like getting into it because he didn't have the gall to fight me and hit me and strike me like he wanted to because I'm operating on a what do you say like a mental level up here. I forgot exactly the way, but like Neville's like I can't be touched because I've got that mentality that nothing's going to happen to me, and I have adopted that too for the most part, especially when it comes to dangerous situations. There's still things I won't take stupid chances as much as I will anymore because I'm in a better state of mind. But when you're in that state of mind where you don't care if you live or die and you put yourself into situations like I don't give a fuck if I live or die, nothing's gonna happen because you're not expecting it to. You're expecting you're gonna walk out of there, and even if you don't, it's like no one could really exist on that level. So the same thing goes for the car. Don't expect anything bad to happen to it. Sorry for being so negative. I guess the techniques never made me feel like I have it or in the state of having it. So what would you recommend I try? Thank you for being patient with me. No problem, little mixer. It's I know how it is. It's like I go through my negative spells too. Even when things are going good for me, it's like that negativity. I think because as a society, society, as a society, and as just humans in general, we're trained to look for the bad for protection, and it's very easy to slip into that negative mindset. And I mean, I do it from time to time. The past month, I've been in it. I went from an all-time peak in my life to like real low. So within 1 month, and it's like life's got the way they call it the ebbs and the flows. It comes and goes and stuff like that. So you just gotta like just training yourself to like pick yourself up. We're all gonna fall down again and again, but are we gonna pick ourselves back up and say that this is real? We're gonna keep staying with it. So if affirmations aren't working, start trying to practice the mind muscle of visualizing. Do your sat session, sit down, like especially before bed and when you first wake up. Those are the two most important times. I know everybody says it, but let me just pound it home again. Before bed is the number one time to manifest, especially visualizing, hearing, affirming. And then when you realize, hey, I went to sleep with this and I wake up, and no matter what I see around me, I'm not going to open my eyes. I'm not going to check my phone. I'm not going to do anything until I'm grateful for having what I already went to sleep with and experiencing it. And before you know it, you'll have the positive dreams. There might be nightmares first. You wake up from a nightmare, you don't go back and try to fight the nightmare. You go back and you reset yourself with something like a good, beautiful vision, and you go back to sleep again. So I would say try visualizing. If you don't like visualizing, I know everyone's like, oh, I have aphantasia, I have this, I can't do that. If I describe something to you or you read a book, you're going to be able to see it in some way or another. You know what's being talked about or described. You could see it, you could feel it, you could understand it. Describe an orange and tell me what an orange tastes like, and you tell me all the things about it. You might start feeling like the your taste buds lighting up with the taste of an orange or a lemon. How does a lemon make you like the sour taste to it? You'll feel it. So try visualizing. If you don't like visualizing, try scripting. There's what we got scripting, we got revision, we got what's it called visualizing, we got state akin to sleep, going to bed with it. So you tried the affirmations, and that's not working, then don't do them. Try whatever works for you. We have all these different tools in this, and I got videos on all of them. Go and pick one that's going to work with you, and if it, and go into it with the idea of this is the one that's going to work for me. Now I read my script when I start to spiral. Gets me right out of the spot. Oh, there you go, George. Yeah, that's a great one. That is a great technique. I give that to a client who I should check up on. I keep meaning to, and it's just like I'm not mentally, I'm just not there still. But I want to check up on him. We had coached together, and the last update I had was that like his manifestation was unfolding, and he was using that same method. But it took us like 2 3 months to get him there. Um, one more question, I promise. Can re how can I reconfigure my subconscious mind to redefine job hunting. I mentioned earlier, I only need money so that I only need money so that it's only reason why I have to do it. I have debts. So, the way it is, it's like, okay, look, here's from someone who hates 9 to 5s, right? I hate 9 to 5s. I want to be creative. I like my passion, my art. I like art. I like creating. I like working out. Nobody wants to work a 9 to 5. Everybody hates it. Well, that's him snoring. That was a weird noise. Uh, so here's what I'll go with. What is what are you qualified to do? Which doesn't fully matter because the one success story we had with the one kid that I was kind of mentoring, he wound up getting a job with no high school diploma, and it's a good job, and he's actually going to be making more money than me, which what we've been working towards now. Like he's going to make more money a week than me doing what he's doing. And I'm proud of him to see that. But what's something that you're qualified to do? What's something you don't mind doing? Like what does the job entail? What shift do you want? And like, is it like labor intensive, this or that? Like, I don't know what you're skilled in and stuff like that. And it would be something where we got to break it down more. But my core of it would be, what is something you don't? We're not going to want to do any of them. What is something that? What's the pay? What do you not mind doing that much? What does it look like? And then put the time into searching for it. This guy, he did look every day for good 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, whatever. I told him, I'm like, look for like 8 hours a day. That's something my dad always taught me. If you're out of work, you spend a work day looking for work. Um, I would say you set the parameters for what you don't mind. I don't mind working this many hours a week. I don't mind this type of work. I don't mind this shift. This is the shift I want. I mean, look at me. I wanted a certain shift, and I got all these things saying, it says, no, what Neville said, no matter if it's one man or a million, they will all play their parts. I was looking to be on afternoon shift for about 20 years. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to go to day shift. The guy who went to day shift quit. Then they're like, no, you're not going to get it that fast. And then they cock blocked me with somebody else. That guy quit after 2 weeks. They cock blocked me with another guy. 1 week before his 3 month probation was over, he got fired. Um, then they bring in another guy. And then they kept jerking me around like, where it's like I was going to get moved up, but then it's like, nope, nope, nope. And this time I put my name on the list to get new jobs. And nope, not the job I want, not the job I want, not the job, not the shift I want, not the shift I want. And I had that brazen impotence that it's going to be a day shift. And everything that was a plus to my old job was at the new job. All the other things that I didn't think were possible, but things I wanted, were at this new job. So I wound up finding exactly what I wanted. Not yet did I sift through some other jobs, take some stuff I didn't want in the meantime, but it's looking for what is the most minimal thing. I mean, at this job, if I wanted, I could find a quiet place. I could record more videos. That's just me being lazy. I could write comedy skits. I could write movie scripts. I could write whatever I want. I have time to do these things. It's just me being lazy. But that was literally the ideal years ago that I looked into and wanted, but it was something that was common, but it wasn't. I wound up with every fucking shitty job, shitty boss, everything getting to where I am now. But when I finally set the parameters of what I wanted, it became possible, and that's where I am now. What do you think of Dylan James self concept tapes? I've heard good things about them. I've heard good things about them as well. I've never used them. Uh, I used to watch his stuff back in the day. Haven't really kept up with him past 2 3 years, but I think he's a good coach. I think that if you go into it and think that they're going to help, they will. Damn, we didn't even get to the main point of what it was, but I think it was a productive session. We're at an hour and 40 minutes. So I think we'll start wrapping up here. If you guys got any final questions, I'm starting to burn out. Hello, fellow master manifestors. Hey, Saya, how you doing? Sorry, we're we're about to wrap up. I'm like, man, my eyes are getting tired. I'm still drinking the coffee and it's not working. I only need to find a temporary job. I have some crypto and other investments I'm going to cash out at the end of the year next year. Just need money to tide me over till then. That's awesome, brother. See, you already got something you need. So it's like, say I need a temp job with this and this and this. It ain't going to be much. I mean, my job, the one thing I would recommend is working at a gym. Working at a gym's easy as fuck. That's a job that if my living expenses weren't what they were now and stuff, and it wouldn't be like a downgrade because once you've experienced like the more money you don't want to go backwards, but working at gym's easy as fuck if you do that. And you gotta like if you have management experience, become a manager or something. Fun environment too. I'm doing good. I was just in a rut and I pulled myself out of it. I've been disciplined with affirming for 21 days. I wasn't perfect, but I was disciplined, guys. That's awesome, Saya. That's the thing. It's like it's the same thing. It's like you're working out for months at a time. You're training for a goal. It's like not every workout is a Mr. Olympia workout, but you're there, you're doing it, and then most of the workouts are great workouts. Not everything's going to be perfect, but it will get you there. Same thing with manifesting. It's like not every day. It's like scale balances and stuff like that, positive and negative. Some days the negative weighs more than the positive. Some days the positive's more than the negative. At the end of the day, you got more positive days that were overall positive than negative. You're in the green. I'm super proud of you too. You're awesome. Can't wait till the next live stream. Well, you guys are awesome. I appreciate all you guys being here. Sorry I made you stray off the main top. No, that's good, brother. That's the point. I love it when you guys come at me with the comments and stuff like that because it helps direct me a little bit better. You get me thinking sometimes, and I'm someone who I will overthink the topic because being one, my personality, and two, if I'm coaching, I need to know every in and out. And sometimes you guys get me to the point where you stump me, and it's like I'm like I got to think for a second. But the bonus to like what me and George were saying earlier too is this the going through all these different pains. I would be able to brush them off with bullshit answers if I wanted to, but because I've experienced 95% of almost all the circumstances, or maybe 90%, 90 to 95% of all these circumstances, or they're things I'm working through at the moment, or things I had struggled with in the past. It gives me that unique opportunity to be like, not only can I tell you something, I've lived it, but sometimes I got to go back and think, oh, what was my thought? What was I doing at that time? So I do like all that. So there's nothing to be sorry about. That's what the live streams are for, the questions. Which technique was your favorite to help you get in the state of having your desire? Going to sleep in a positive state every night. That was my favorite. Every night going to sleep with my desire. That's my favorite one. Um, when I'm lazy, I don't mind using Parrot app. But visualizing, I like visualizing and scripting because it's just I like film and movies was my always my passion. So I've always written, and I've always lost in my imagination. So that's what I've always liked. Canadian here, Vancouver, British Columbia. Oh, that's awesome. See, I like to find out where people are from too. That's actually a plan I was supposed to maybe this month. I think it's Toronto though. Is the I don't know what part of Canada has Niagara Falls. I know it's right by New York, and I want to say that's Toronto. I was going to say I'm like because I'm trying to go to Niagara Falls by the end of the month, but I'm not 100% sure that's happening. That is Toronto. Yeah, that's what I thought. I wouldn't mind going up there checking out some of Canada though. Trying to get some more traveling in, but I just want to get the money, get my money in order first, get some of my debts squared away, and then I'm good. Now that should actually be a goal. It's like because all my goals now, there's nothing. That's the beautiful thing about the SP. It's like it's something you're so driven towards. Like there's nothing that's gonna stop you from that. Or like this bodybuilding competition I did was like it was something I was so passionate about. It's like getting the bills paid off ain't really a passion, so I don't really give a fuck. And it's not like they're killing me or I'm completely broken. So it's like there's not that draw of a connection to manifest that, or it's like I had not done the comedy in so long, and it's like maybe I had lost some of the passion, which I know I kind of lost a lot of the passion for it that I used to. So it's like there's not as much of a strength as there was when I was working and thinking that was the only way out of working those jobs I hated. Um, so finding your passion too, and it's like sometimes I think this would be a unique opportunity for me too to put. Those are my crackers for when I'm done. Um, Forcing yourself to something you're not that passionate about to obtain that. I think that'd be an interesting one. I've loved when my SP coached me on visualizing. Her guided visualizations are very powerful. That's awesome. That I'm glad that's a nice thing too when you could share the spirituality passions like that. Good night, Nick. Thank you so much. Hope to see you going live again soon. I'm trying to do more of them. I'm thinking maybe Fridays I do like the members only one. Mondays we stick to what we do. I always drop all these plans on you guys and then nothing happens in the week. But that's a negative affirmation. That's me being stuck in the old story. Tomorrow I got SP's motorcycle on the shop, so I got to go pick that up and hit a workout. So it'll probably be a late one tomorrow if we do one. I've just been lazy on filming videos too. It's like I kind of like these better because they're more interactive. It's not like a job where I sit there and it's like I'm recording. All right, here's what I'm gonna talk about. Okay, cool. Pause. What's the next video? Oh, okay, this one. Boom, boom, boom. And I go through. It's like this is more interactive and making me think, and it's like a challenge sometimes. But with that, love you guys very much. Thank you for tuning in. We had a good crowd with us tonight too. Lively conversation, and let's try. No promises. Let's try for tomorrow as well. But thank you guys. Love you very much. Keep your heads up. Nothing's impossible. You can't fuck this up. Damn, I almost had it straight in this frame, and it's always working out in your favor. Let's see. Thank you for your time. Have a good night. You have a good night as well. Great stream as always, and great crowd as always. So I'll see you guys.